Welcome to the Relationship School's Smart Couple podcast, hosted by Jayson, Gaddis, and
co-hosted
by me, his wife, Ellen Boeder.
Yes. What's up, Ellen? Glad to have you back.
Thanks.
Yeah. We wanted to dive into, we've been jamming a little bit about the Dan Savage podcast. Yeah. I've also talked to some friends about jealousy, insecurity, reassuring people, monogamish. And so we just wanted to tack on to that interview and offer you some helpful tips.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to start us off?
Sure. Yeah, I was listening to the Dan Savage interview, which was great. It was awesome to have him. Mm-hmm. And I love the perspective that he brings from his relationship experiences as you know, taking so many letters and from people for so many years and as a gay man.
Yeah.
And I felt like I just wished I'd been there because he was speaking to things that I wanted to check out with him. And like, I think I was inferring some things he was saying that were exciting and interesting to me. And one of them was that, you know, as he was talking about these scenarios where couples get into arguments and struggles about monogamy, you know, whether there's affairs or things like that, jealousy stuff, things that he thinks monogamy can, you know, be hard, ways monogamy can be hard for people.
Yeah. The box of monogamy.
Yeah, the box of monogamy, exactly. What I was hearing in those scenarios was, you know, in my view, monogamy wasn't necessarily the problem as much as the security in the relationship was the problem. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm coming from, you know, the PACT model, Stan Tatkin's model.
Yeah. And that's what we live in our marriage.
Yeah, which really, you know, resonates for me. And so I was hearing through that filter of, you know, security being so important in any relationship, whether it's monogamous or all the other versions that, you know, it could be.
Yeah.
And so when he was talking about those scenarios, it seemed like the issue was more about, hey, I don't feel okay with you. I don't know where I stand with you. I feel threatened by all these other things because maybe something in here doesn't actually feel okay. Mm-hmm. That seemed more the issue to me than monogamy in and of itself being the barrier for that couple. And I feel like Dan would have said, yeah, monogamy in and of itself isn't a problem.
Yeah. Well, and from what you study, it seemed like his monogamish relationship the reason it works so well is because it seems like him and his partner have a secure home base there.
Yeah.
Secure functioning going on.
Totally. I wanted to, you know, he wasn't saying this, but as I was listening to him describe his relationship with his husband, he was describing secure functioning, you know, the way Stan does, the way we know a secure functioning relationship works. There's a lot of transparency, you know, the agreements are very overt, they continue to be reevaluated. There's a primary person, you know, the couples, the sort of at the top of the hierarchy there, they're the most important. And they both together navigate all the other people and things around them as a team.
Yeah.
And so I felt like he was describing that really beautifully. And it made sense to me that monogamish worked well for them because of that. And it didn't feel threatening to them because they were managing each other and other people really well, is what it sounded like.
To me, it sounded like the same thing also. Yeah. And that they will potentially go out of their way to reassure each other.
Yes.
To keep things very transparent and out on the table.
Yeah.
Right. So if there is jealousy, they talk about it openly, and they help each other feel safe again.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, he was really, I thought he was really describing that very well.
Yeah. So you're saying some people could make monogamy a problem when security is probably the problem.
I mean, that's what I think.
Strong possibility, right?
That's what I think. I'm not saying that monogamy is for everyone, but I am saying that I don't think monogamy in and of itself is the issue. And I don't think Dan was saying that either.
Yeah.
But I wasn't hearing that actually there's, you know, I wasn't hearing him speak to the security thing. That's not his thing.
No.
But that's of course, that's my thing right now. So,
well, it's our lens too to how we see partnership over time.
Yeah.
And he doesn't study that stuff, but he was kind of explaining it.
He was kind of explaining it,
Yeah.
which I think is so cool that you don't have to like necessarily study secure attachment stuff to really know how to do it. And he was a good example of that, I thought. That like people can do this in lots of different places in the world, and you don't have to have necessarily studied it to know that how you help another human being feel safe and secure with you like happens through these things.
Yeah. So let's talk about the another perspective here, just for a minute. So I was talking to an acquaintance recently, and he was saying that in their partnership, they don't do the reassurance thing because that's codependency, or a version of codependency, right? Is like, if you're feeling insecure and jealous because I'm checking someone out, or I'm having feelings for someone, or someone's having feelings for me and there's nothing going on here, but regardless, your jealousy stuff gets kicked up, right? And it's like, well, hey, that's your problem. That's your insecurity, and I'm not going to tell you everything's okay here and I love you and it's just the two of us. And they were saying that that's an agreement they have in their relationship. And I thought that was interesting because that's how we used to be.
What do you mean?
Many years ago, in the sort of spiritual view of like, hey, your trigger is your problem, my trigger is my problem. This is before we started studying the attachment stuff. You don't remember this? Interesting.
Well, I would...
Well, that's how
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I know that I think we were way more into being like really accountable for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had issues around jealousy in other people and dealing with that and reassurance. But I think we were more about just really being accountable to ourselves for our triggers and like, hey, if I get like triggered by you, I'm gonna go work on that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And that's my problem. So a little different than jealousy, but similar in that I'm having issues. I'm having a lot of reactivity over here. And now how we do that is we reassure each other. Oh, what's up? Like, tell me what's going on. And maybe I need to hear reassuring statements, especially after a rupture.
Oh, yeah.
And so this couple was saying that we don't do that. And I was like, okay, I know that place because I've been there. And I don't see couples get very far in that model.
Right. Well, I don't think we got very far with that. And I don't think it just changed from studying attachment and studying PACT. I feel like we evolved that much earlier because I don't ever think we were like that hardcore. Yeah. But I think once we had Lucian and Neva, and like once we were much more interdependent, there was like a lot more need to help each other out.
Yeah.
And I think we did that I think we adapted that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I think this other couple, when I hear that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, they made an agreement together about that. They can do that. I think that I'd be curious just how that goes because it's really normal and okay to want to be reassured. I still want reassurance from you. It's nice. And about different things. Like it could be about us, but often it's just maybe about something about myself, or I think it's a really nice thing to be able to offer someone. I can't imagine like not offering our children that. Mm-hmm. Human beings are vulnerable. We have doubts. We get scared, and if someone can offer really quick, fast, genuine reassurance, that can calm someone down really quickly. Especially if it's like it just goes right into them,
Yeah. I want to mention just for the listener that there's two things I see as impediments to reassurance, like why I might not reassure you, right?
Yeah.
One is back in the day, I didn't have 2 feet in, so I couldn't offer what you needed. So if you're in a relationship where you sense the other person didn't have 2 feet in and you're wanting them to reassure you, it's not going to be genuine. They're not going to be able to step over that hurdle and give you what you need there.
Yeah.
And then the other piece is if you grew up with a parent who you reassured constantly because they were kind of like a child, or they were an alcoholic, or they had a lot of problems and they were insecure, and you became the little girl or boy hero to them, you're going to be irritated and resentful that you have to offer someone reassurance in your adult relationship. So it's a possibility. So I would just, if you're feeling yourself listening to this and you're like, oh, reassurance, I don't want to do that. Just investigate those two possibilities, that, because to me, reassurance is like, now that I'm 2 feet in and I've worked through a lot of my history, reassurance seems so straightforward.
Yeah, it
like,
wasn't
honey,
straightforward for you.
I'm right here. Yeah, it wasn't in the beginning. But now it's like, oh, honey, okay, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah,
we don't
it works.
actually even say that anymore because we're so here. I don't need to reassure you that I'm not leaving.
Right, no.
So, but I might reassure you around other things.
Yeah.
And and
it's nice. And
you actually reassure me that like, hey, this isn't about you.
Right.
That can be a reassuring statement when I'm reading her body language and I'm making it about me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're mad at me. Like, what's up? What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, hey, it's cool.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So reassurance can be really powerful.
Oh my gosh. Well, powerful, and then it keeps us connected, especially if there really isn't anything wrong here.
Yeah.
Or off, and I can reassure you about that. That just conserves and frees up. It frees up energy.
Yeah, totally.
And who wouldn't want that? So I think if you can genuinely offer reassurance to someone, awesome. And I guess it shouldn't be a bottomless pit. Like if it's like, wow, I'm really here. I'm really offering what I can, and it seems like it doesn't help. It doesn't help us. This person isn't offering it back to me. We're not doing this for each other. It's one way. Like there can be things that could be draining about it and not feel fair. But I think if you're both willing to, yes, we do that for each other when we need it, and we take it in and we utilize that together, it can be awesome.
Yeah.
But if two people don't want to, they can agree to that too.
Not do that. We just don't see that go very far in our experience.
Yeah, I'd just be curious to hear how that works for them, because we all have insecurities that life can trigger. If not here in our lives, things come up where we can doubt ourselves and question, and it can really weigh on us. And it's really awesome to have someone who believes in you.
Yeah, and even for them to say that, if you come home from a hard day, getting beat up at work or in life, for just your partner to say, hey, honey, I believe in you. I know you're going to get through this. That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a human thing we all need.
Yeah.
Because life is challenging.
Yeah. Right. And it goes so far when it's the person the person in the relationship you're most invested in, and they give you that. It means a lot.
Yeah. Let's wrap up with just coming back full circle to the Dan part.
Yeah.
And jealousy, just because I want to make sure for anyone listening that they get something valuable there around jealousy.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with jealousy in your relationship because someone's, your partner or someone you're dating is, you're projecting that they have other open-ended relationship loops with women or men, and it's just, triggers all of your insecurity. I think what we're saying here is, again, it's not maybe about monogamy as much as security. And how can I reassure this person if I care about them? Like, what's the big deal here? Can I reassure them?
Yeah.
That I'm not going anywhere, I choose you.
Yeah, if you're in that kind of commitment, that goes a long way to be able to offer, your primary person the reassurance that would help them settle, relax, so that you guys can connect, so that you can go out and live your lives more easily. When we're caught up in wondering like if we're okay and what's going on here, it sucks up a lot of our mental space and emotional space, and it really detracts from us being able to grow and develop outside of that, and even grow and develop here.
Yeah.
So it's just awesome when a couple can together agree on how do we like conduct our business? How are we going to do things? How are we going to deal with other people? What feels good to both of us, and hash that stuff out. It's not easy because two people are definitely not always going to be on the same page if ever.
Yeah.
And so it takes collaboration and creativity and all of that, but it's so worth doing.
Yeah.
So that you can be freed up to live your lives is how it feels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the open relationships that do go well, in my experience, that it's because there's reassurance. So just let's say you open up your relationship, that's not the way to get over jealousy. Jealousy is probably still going to happen, and you're probably still going to need reassurance. In fact, it seems to get more complicated to me. So reassurance is just a powerful tool to help the safety of the primary relationship.
Yeah, and if it's genuine and, you know, easily offered. I think that if it feels like laborious, if it feels like it doesn't go anywhere, if you feel like it's one way, you know, those are times when it's just, it's not gonna, something's not working. There's something else going on.
Yeah. And remember to investigate your history. If you're having a hard time reassuring someone because they're a bottomless pit in your judgment, again, it might be that you grew up with a parent like that, and a child cannot, it is a bottomless pit, a child cannot do the adequate job to reassure an adult, grown-up, an adult. It just can't happen.
Yeah.
They can try all they want.
Right.
It's never going to be enough, you know, unless that adult changes their behavior.
Yeah. Right.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for that add-on. It was great. I appreciate it.
Good.
Okay, looking forward to having you back soon.
Okay,
honey.
Sounds good.